Don't, someone might see, but the rancher did it anyway, and the whole town lost their minds. The first thing people noticed was the scream. It cut through the late afternoon air like a knife, echoing across the dusty main street of Willow Creek. Heads turned, shop doors creaked open, horses shifted nervously at their posts. And right there, in full view of the general store, stood Caleb Hart, the most private rancher in 3 counties, holding a woman in his arms as if the world had suddenly stopped mattering. Don't, someone might see, the woman whispered, her voice shaking more from fear than embarrassment. Caleb didn't let go. For a town that survived on gossip the way cattle survived on grass, this moment was pure wildfire. Caleb Hart was not a man of public displays. He kept to his ranch beyond the hills, spoke little, paid on time, and avoided trouble. Folks respected him because they didn't understand him. And now here he was, doing the one thing no one expected, ignoring the eyes of the entire town. The woman's name was Eliza Monroe. She had arrived in Willow Creek just 3 weeks earlier, stepping off the stagecoach with a single suitcase and eyes full of quiet determination. Some said she was running from a broken engagement. Others claimed she'd lost her family back east and had nowhere else to go. Eliza never corrected anyone. She took a room above the bakery and a job sewing dresses, keeping her head down and her past locked away. Until today, the trouble started with the runaway horse. Eliza had been crossing the street when the animal bolted, spooked by the sudden crack of a gunshot from the edge of town. The horse reared, the wagon tipped, and in one terrible second, Eliza was on the ground, the wheel pinning her leg. People froze. Someone shouted for help, but fear held them back. A panicked horse could kill. A wrong move could make it worse. Caleb didn't hesitate. He came running from the hitching post, boots pounding the dirt, jaw set with a focus that silenced the crowd. He grabbed the reins, murmuring low and steady, calming the animal like he'd done 1,000 times before. Then he crouched, braced his shoulder against the wagon, and lifted with everything he had. Eliza cried out. That was when she whispered it, soft, desperate, and full of shame. Don't, someone might see. She meant the way his arms wrapped around her. The way his face hovered close to hers. The way she clung to his shirt like he was the only solid thing left in the world. Caleb's voice was calm, almost fierce. I don't care. He lifted her fully into his arms, blood spotting her stocking, and turned toward the doctor's office without another glance at the crowd. That was the moment the town lost its mind. By sundown, every version of the story was already spreading. Some said Eliza was pregnant. Others swore Caleb had declared his love right there in the street. A few claimed they'd seen tears in the rancher's eyes, which only made the tale more scandalous. Eliza woke later in the doctor's office, her leg bandaged and aching. Caleb sat nearby, hat in his hands, staring at the floor like a boy caught doing something forbidden. You shouldn't have done that, she said softly. He looked up, meeting her eyes. I'd do it again, she swallowed. They'll talk. They always do. Eliza turned her face away. Her life had already been shaped by whispers once before. Back east, a single rumor had destroyed her engagement, her reputation, her future. She had come to Willow Creek to disappear, not to become the center of attention. Caleb seemed to understand without her saying a word. I know what it's like, he said quietly. To be judged for something people don't understand. She looked at him then, really looked at him, the lines of hard work on his face. The gentleness in his eyes that didn't match his rough hands. Why do you stay? She asked. He hesitated. Because the land doesn't care what they say. And because, sometimes you don't get to choose when the right thing makes noise. The next days were harder than the injury. Eliza felt eyes on her everywhere. Conversations stopped when she entered rooms. Women whispered. Men stared. Caleb, true to his word, did not hide. He walked her to and from work when she could walk again. He sat beside her at church. He stood with her, silent and steady, as if daring the town to challenge him. And slowly, something changed. People noticed that Caleb paid for Eliza's medicine anonymously. That he fixed the bakery's broken fence without being asked. That Eliza volunteered at the schoolhouse, teaching children to read after her sewing work was done. The gossip softened. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the fields gold, Eliza stood outside the general store with Caleb. You know, she said, a small smile on her lips, they're still watching. He shrugged. Let them. She took his hand this time, openly, deliberately. Across the street, someone gasped. Someone else smiled. The town didn't lose its mind after all. It simply learned that sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is choose compassion over caution, no matter who's watching.